Greetings and welcome to Growth Hacking Secrets. I'm your host, Mohammed Siddique from Atlanta, Georgia, and the co author of New Success Secrets available on Amazon. On this episode, we have a special guest, Johnny Ball. Johnny is the founder of Present Influence. Please join me to give a warm welcome to our guest, Johnny Ball. Johnny, welcome.
Thank you for inviting me on your show.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Let me start with this. Where were you? What happened? Who you were surrounded with that inspired you to do what you do today?
Well, I used to do something very different. I used to be a flight attendant, and in my travels, in my flying, I encountered a life coach who was also working there as well, and was introduced to the idea and concept of professional coaching. And I was so fascinated by it that I learned everything I could. I kept pestering her with questions, and ended up at probably the end of the week of working with her, signing up for a life coaching course, and I've never really looked back. So I think at the time I was most getting into it, I was in Philadelphia, in a hotel in Philadelphia, and in a very different job, very different life. Could never have imagined how things would look now. So what I'm doing now is still professional coaching, but I also do professional speaking, and I train people in professional speaking skills, and have 2 podcasts as well, which I really enjoy doing.
So professional speaking, when it comes to professional speaking, it's very hard to train someone. Being a shy person like me, I used to be so shy. Somebody asks my name, I have to almost run around, not to just how to answer my name. I have no idea what is going to ask me after that. I mean, it's like a shyness level, that level. Is it really possible that you can train an idiot like this to be a professional speaker?
Well, if I can do it, you can do it. That's the reality. I, like yourself, I feel the pain. I'm very introverted naturally. I'm not the kind of person who you would generally expect to want to be up on a stage, but I have done drama and things like that before, and it's surprising how many people who do like performance and being on a stage in front of people are naturally very introverted in their private life and quite shy and timid in their private lives as well. I wouldn't say necessarily that it brings you outside of that, but when you get up on a stage, or when you have any kind of platform in real life or virtual, you can change. You do it for your audience. It's not just about you then. So it can help bring people out of themselves.
Wonderful. Are you ready? I have some tough questions prepared for you.
I was born ready.
Oh, you are born ready. Let's go. So when it comes to professionally speaking, creating an impact and creating an influence, what are the top 3 mistakes to avoid?
I'll give it from my perspective. I think some of the things that I see in speaking that I don't like and think can make things go wrong for people is where they become a bit self-indulgent and perhaps make it all about themselves rather than the audience. One of the biggest problems, especially if you are naturally shy and introverted, is if it's about you, then you're going to be thinking about what you're doing and what you're saying, what you're going to say next. You're going to be even more nervous. Whereas if it's about your audience and about what you do for them, you can overcome that stuff much more, and it's not going to be your main focus. Also, say being information heavy, people tend to try and pack too much information into their presentations, and that makes it very dry and very boring a lot of the time. So a few points well made are much more memorable, and people are likely to stick with that. And being boring as well. There's no excuse these days for being boring, for sounding boring, and for not turning your energy up when you're doing some kind of presentation. We hear about Zoom fatigue all the time. People are just bored. People are just bored because most people are boring in online meetings. So we can get rid of Zoom fatigue. We can all do our bit to make things a bit more energized and uplifting.
Mm-hmm. Wonderful, Johnny. So you're not as good as you think. You are better, I can tell you for sure. So as you mentioned, you are a very shy person, and I'm sure in the learning process, or maybe you have done some mistakes. I want you to share your greatest failure story. What did you learn, and how did you recover from it?
Oh, there's an embarrassment of riches when it comes to failures, I'm afraid. My first business venture, after leaving my full-time job and going into business for myself, that was probably my biggest failure. And a lot of that was just being unprepared and thinking everything would fall into place, and that I'd get all the help I need and everything would just happen, because because I'd visualized it and because I really wanted it and because I was doing some work, that I just thought everything's going to happen and it's all going to fall into place, and it didn't. And I really didn't know what I'm doing, what I was doing at that time. I struggled, and I didn't reach out for help to the people who could have helped me get out of the hole I was in. That was probably the biggest mistake, is not asking for help sooner.
And what did you learn?
From that, well, other than to ask for help sooner, I learned that you really need to learn what you're doing. And there's a lot of people out there who really are managing to just about scrape by not really knowing what they're doing. Life is so much easier when you do. So learn from the right people, get the right help that you need, and don't pretend that you know stuff that you don't know, because you might come undone. There's a good chance you will.
Many people after a failure, they never recover. How did you recover from it?
Well, it's interesting. I condensed the story for you because I had a really low patch after that failure, particularly when my first business kind of crumbled. The thing that got me through that was a friend of mine who gave me some coaching, and she told me that if I really wanted to improve or wanted to get out of the rut, that I should start a daily gratitude practice. And I was very skeptical. I didn't really think it would make a difference, but I stuck with it. And I probably several weeks of doing this, after promising her I would, I started to notice some changes, and my mindset started to shift, and I started feeling more positive and more grateful, and finding it easier to find things to be more grateful from. And I would say that practice, no, I still do it every day. The first thought I have in my head when I wake up is, what am I grateful for today? And I always think of at least 3 things. I would say that gratitude practice probably saved my life, but certainly changed my life.
So, as we are talking about today, what are you grateful for?
Oh man, so many things. I'm grateful that I'm grateful that I came first place in a public speaking contest on Saturday. That was pretty exciting. I'm grateful that I get to go swimming, and the gyms are open here again, and things are starting to open up a bit more. And everything. I'm grateful that I got to spend my birthday with my family this year when I couldn't see them last year. There's a lot of things that I'm very grateful for.
Wonderful, wonderful. So let's read this side. Let's talk about your some successes. So what are your top 3 secrets of success that others can model from? Don't be stingy. Give us your best ones, okay?
No, I think one of the things that has really helped me is to remember that everything is temporary. So, and I say that because the tough times are temporary, but so are the good times, and so everything is kind of fleeting. We should remember that, and that ties in with that practice of gratitude. Be grateful for what you've got in your life while you've got it, but don't try and hold on to everything. Life has a natural flow, and works better when we work with it. I've always also worked on the principle of nothing having any meaning except the meaning that we give it. And it really is important to create meaning, find meaning for yourself, the things that have value for you, give yourself purpose in your life. And one of the best ways to do that is to make it about them, make it about other people, make it something that's bigger than just you yourself. It's okay to want things for yourself, but when you go bigger, when it becomes about more than just you, then you will make more things happen, and you'll feel more of a duty, a responsibility, and a pull to do more and go further. So make it about more than just you, and that's always going to help.
Give us one more bonus.
One more bonus. I would say, more than anything else, get coaching where you can. Get someone who can give you, if it's industry specific, like if you want to be a better speaker, get a speaker coach. If you want to be better in business, get a business coach. Whatever it is you want to be better at, get a coach or a mentor, someone who's going to hold you accountable and hold you to a higher standard and help you push yourself further and faster, and even provide you with some of the resources to allow you to do that. People, professional athletes and the likes, they always have top coaches to help them move further. And this is becoming more common in the business and professional world as well. And people often think they don't need it or they shouldn't need the help. But when they do get that, and when they're vulnerable enough to be able to say, yeah, okay, maybe I can do more, maybe I can go further, I'm going to ask for help and see who can help me, they will. You will go further and faster with the right coach.
Wonderful. What about the people who says, I know everything?
then nobody has to get a coach, right? And I think we've often made that sort of assumption before now. But when we say I know, or I know everything, or I know that, we automatically cut ourselves off from learning, and we always say, "Well, I'm done. I've learned everything." Do you think anybody really knows everything that they need to know? That level of arrogance is what's known as a fixed mindset. And we are all more productive and more fruitful in our lives when we have a growth mindset that there's always more to know, there's always more to learn, and there's always a standard above where you are that you can get yourself to. And that will never end until we do. So I think it's
Wonderful.
important.
Wonderful. Johnny, I have few questions, lightning round, and you are my first victim on this. I'm saying it
I'm
publicly.
excited.
You're excited?
Yeah.
So I have a quick questions, quick answers, 1 to 2 line, not a big explanation. I really appreciate very much. And let's go with lightning round. What is the impactful book you have read, and what did you learn from it?
Well, there's a few I could choose from, but one that has been very impactful for me and has really helped me a lot, and I have it in my hand here, if the green screen works. Never Split the Difference. It's Chris Voss and Tal Raz. Fantastic book, and really great. And Chris Voss is really, really cool with everything that he does. The information here is really powerful. You probably never think about conversations or certainly negotiations again in the same way. Whatever part of life, life is a negotiation. I think Chris says that quite often, and it really is. And if you want to empower yourself to get better results in life and be a better negotiator, then check out Never Split the Difference.
Chris Voss, you have changed my life, not only me. I thought it was only me. Johnny is included too, so thank you.
I'm sure there's many more of us as well.
Absolutely, absolutely. And here's some personal question. How young are you?
Last week I turned 49. So
49?
Yeah, 49.
So Johnny, you are not 49. You are 18 years old with 31 years experience.
I'll take it. I'll take it. I wish my body felt 18 years old, but I'll take it.
Okay. What do you want to do when you grow up?
Oh, man. I used to want to be a policeman when I was younger, and those sorts of ambitions left me long, long, long ago. Now, as I grow older, I just want to be doing more professional speaking and probably more podcasting as well. These are the things that I love, and I don't see myself ever stopping doing that. I'd be quite happy to be doing those until the day I drop.
Wonderful. How do you overcome challenge life throws at you?
I think it's very important to nurture our inner world and take some time out for ourselves. One of the things that helps is just being able to take a step back. And so I do practice meditation daily. I do take some me time, some thinking time. And I find that very useful. And so, yeah, sometimes just taking a step back, giving yourself some time to view your life almost from a detached position can really help to give you clarity when times get tough and to figure out the ways to move forward.
Wonderful. How can we support you?
Well, the only thing I would hopefully ask people is to check out my podcasts. I have two. I have a show that's about public speaking and presentation skills and tools of influence and persuasion, and that's called Speaking of Influence. And I have another show that is mostly about coaching and life transformations, and mostly that's chatting with coaches and mentors and change makers who are helping others to make a difference in their lives. That's called Points of Change. Check out either or both of those shows. I'll be very happy.
Yeah. Speaking of influence
and Points of Change.
And Points of Change. Try the first one, Speaking of Influence, because we all have a deeper desire to be creating an influence, at least for your own family and your grandkids and all the so once you start thinking on that line, of course you will learn a lot, and then you can listen to one episode first, then outreach to Johnny Bell. Okay.
Absolutely.
It has an impact on you. That's the key part. So Johnny, you are my guest today. I would like to have a few words about your today's guest experience on a Growth Hacking Secret Show. And what would you say about your today's guest experience on a Growth Hacking Secret Show?
It's been fun. I really like the short form feature of this, of like just covering or dipping your toe in some of the answers rather than going super deep, so that you can just get a sense of things rather than having to really tune in for a particularly long time. Sometimes you do just want to get a sense of things, and that can be enough as an introduction for sure. And it's a lot of fun. It's a really nice show, and I'm very happy to have come and joined you today. It's a nice light energy and a fun appearance.
Thank you so much for your kind words. Really appreciate it. What would you say as a final word?
As a final word, well, there's a philosophy that I live by. It's from Lao Tzu, the creator and writer of the Tao Te Ching, and it is this: that to know and not to do is to not truly know. So whatever you learn, put it into action.
Thank you so much, Johnny Ball, for sharing your wisdom with us today. On the behalf of Growth Hacking Secrets community and our entire team, we really appreciate you. This is Mohammed Siddique signing off from Atlanta, Georgia. Until the next episode, all good wishes.